Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining NRG's webinar today, where we will showcase how our solar flare measurement systems and services can support project development from initial feasibility studies through project operations. My name is Thomas Lattanzio, and I'm joined here with my colleague, Chris Henry. Together, along with other folks, we primarily support the North American market, as well as providing additional support to some of our international teams. A little bit about NRG systems. Our company was founded in the early 80s, and over the last 4 decades, we've been designing and manufacturing support tools for the renewable energy industry. This includes wind resource assessment, as well as solar assessment and operational monitoring, turbine control sensors, and we are the North American distributor and partner of ZX LiDARs. On the right, you see a picture of our global headquarters in Heinsberg, Vermont, just outside of Burlington. And we have a presence worldwide, including Europe, South America, Southeast Asia, and China. Over these years, we've now deployed products in over 170 countries across the world. When working with NRG systems, you're going to be getting 4 decades of experience in developing measurement solutions for the solar and wind energy industries. We are a lean manufacturing, and a majority of our system is manufactured at our location in Heinsberg, Vermont. This ensures that we can control lead times and costs to make sure that we're meeting the objectives that you have set out when working with us. Our organization provides industry-leading technical services and project management teams to support both pre-construction and operational projects. We have a subcontractor network in North America that covers all 50 states, as well as each province in Canada, and we have capabilities in international markets with key service providers to replicate the same. Solar resource assessment over the last few years has really taken a turn to utilizing satellite data to really focusing on implementing ground-based measurement campaigns. And there's been several factors leading to that. The Inflation Reduction Act is one, and with this federal policy, new tax incentives are now available, which we'll get into a bit later. With a further utilization of bifacial modules, understanding what your energy gain will be prior to operations is really critical. And this really can only be done by measuring on site. The industry has also been grappling with underperformance. Without getting into too many details on why this is, because I think there's many theories behind that, by ensuring that your project will perform up to your expectations, utilizing a ground-based measurement came as a way to get there. Soiling loss is one of the big contributors to energy loss during operations. Trying to understand and forecast what this loss will be pre-construction is something that can be done with a ground-based measurement campaign. The Inflation Reduction Act has really provided some new tax incentives. Previously, the solar industry only had the investment tax credit available. This allows your project a 30% tax break at the time of COD. With the PTC, which has been available for wind for a long time now, your project can secure a production tax credit year over year as long as a PTC is available. And understanding which option is better for your project is best to understand with the lowest amount of uncertainty what your energy output will be year over year. Ground-based measurement campaigns will help you do this. It's really critical that you work internally as well as with your independent engineering firms to determine what option is best for your particular project. As we move into operational monitoring, NRG designs and manufactures IEC-compliant weather stations. These stations are deployed and can provide on site and can provide real-time or statistical averages to your SCADA systems. This will help you correlate performance metrics to the Met station data, as well as providing forecasting data both internally and externally. Now I'd like to take the time to hand this off to Chris, who's going to spend the next amount of time going over our flare stations and how they can support your projects.
Thank you, Tom, and thank you everybody for joining us today. I'd like to introduce myself as Chris Henry, one of the account managers here at NRG, specifically focusing in our solar solutions. Late in 2022, NRG Systems launched our Flare solar portfolio, which brings a suite of engineering and field services in parallel with our 4 decades of measurement hardware experience to provide turnkey, owner and developer specific standardized solutions for all of your project needs. NRG Systems Flare solar resource solutions can be broken into 2 different segments. Your solar resource assessment systems, which are used during the development phase for financing of projects, and your solar resource monitoring stations, which are used in the operational phase. NRG Flare solutions bring together a suite of services, which can be seen on the right, which include everything from initial rapid bidding to complete system designs to shipping globally through turnkey installation and maintenance solutions, and are all backed by our long-term support via our dedicated technical support team. As mentioned, our Flare solutions can be broken into 2 different segments. In case I use one of our own internal acronyms, SRA system refers to our pre-construction solar resource assessment stations, and an SRM system refers to our post-construction solar resource monitoring systems for operational use. As seen on the screen, these are some examples of various projects throughout the world. On the left is a central SRM station installed in Texas. In the middle is a Flare SRA deployment in Kansas. And on the right is a Flare SRM distributed station installed in Spain. NRG Systems has been providing guidance on system configurations for the financing of renewable energy projects for more than 40 years. With the support and collaboration from industry-leading independent engineering firms, and in parallel with industry guidelines set forth in IEC 61724, we have established a standard suite of systems that will enable developers to either secure financing for their projects in the pre-construction phase, and also to maintain successful operation for the utility scale projects in the operational phase. Our Flare systems are comprised of the following core system components for hardware: our data logger and communications, ISO 9060 Class A devices for irradiance measurements, various soiling measurement kits, ancillary meteorological sensors, a tower and albedometer tripod, along with associated hardware for mounting in various applications, as well as power supplies for both remote deployments for SRA and uninterruptible power supplies for operational. At the heart of all of our systems is one of our data acquisition systems, which is either the Symphony Pro or Logger S data loggers. Each of these systems is based on NRG's 4 decades of experience, and all are easily configurable, which means no programming is required, and support direct plug-and-play use of industry standard sensors. They have the ability to do calculated channels for additional solar information such as solar zenith and azimuth positions, DNI calculations, as well as albedo calculations directly within the data stream. Both logger platforms utilize completely fixed Modbus register maps, which means when you work with NRG, regardless of which EPC or SCADA supplier you use, it'll be direct plug and play into the SCADA network of your choosing. For communications, we have remote communications utilizing either cellular or satellite. And for operational monitoring stations, we have communications that utilize Modbus TCP protocol and provide outputs via either Cat6 Ethernet or single mode fiber connection. For radiance measurements, our systems have full system compatibility with industry-leading sensors, including our flagship pyranometer, the NRG R1, along with industry standard sensors such as the HuxFlux SR30 and devices from Kip and Zonin, Eco Instruments, and Delta T Instruments. Each of these devices could be installed in their classic GHI orientation, but we also have mounting solutions for POA, diffuse, and albedo measurements as well. Here are some examples of our solar mounting options. These are on our SRA systems, showing both GHI and POA orientations. As you can see in the bottom left photo, we have options for heating and ventilation in icy or snowy environments. We additionally have POA and RPOA hardware available for industry standard torque tube designs, such as those from Nextracker, Array Technologies, Soltech, and Game Change Solar. As can be seen here, here are various sensors deployed in both RPOA, POA at edge mount, and POA on center torque tube mount options. We additionally have the ability to integrate third-party sun trackers for Class A DNI and DHI measurements, as can be seen here. Moving on to soiling kits, we have a variety of options depending on the application. For our pre-construction soiling measurement kits, we deploy our 35-watt soiling kit. For operational monitoring stations, we have the NRG full-size pulse soiling module kit, which work with now industry standard high voltage and high current modules. We also have the ability to integrate third-party systems if your project requires it, such as those from Autonometrics, Kip and Zonin, and FracSun. Various solutions have the ability to provide soiling calculations directly in line with IEC 61724 guidelines laid out in 2021 that will flow directly through the data stream into either your independent engineering data hub or your SCADA. The rest of the meteorological measurements are comprised of sensors directly manufactured by NRG systems. This includes everything from your wind speed and direction sensors to your ambient temperature, relative humidity, and barometric pressure sensors, as well as rainfall. And most recently added to our portfolio in 2019 is a Class A NTC thermistor backup module temperature sensor. All of these sensors are accurate, reliable, and low cost, and provide independent measurements for each meteorological parameter, which means should a single sensor fail for some reason, you do not lose your entire data stream. And as NRG is the direct OEM of these components, we have sufficient stock for quick and rapid replacement on your stations. The station here on the left showcases a typical SRA deployment utilizing separate NRG MET sensors, but we also have the ability to integrate industry standard all-in-one sensors if you have project-specific requirements. For station hardware, we utilize a 2.2 meter tubular tower directly in line with our historically supplied tubular towers for the wind resource assessment market. We also have standalone albedo tripods that are painted matte black to reduce reflection and shading, which can be seen here from this deployment in Maui, Hawaii, which I'd like to credit Will Everhart, Harness Energy, for taking during one of his trips to site. These are some various examples of different deployments for SRM. So we have a pile-mounted tower, which gets directly bolted to a driven pile. We also have the ability to do a pad mount tower, which requires the pouring and curing of a concrete pad. For albedo measurements, we can utilize the same black tripod utilized in the SRA space, but we also have hardware for creating a standalone tripod on another driven pile, which will again eliminate the need for concrete on site. For power, we have modular power systems that are sized specifically for the location and project needs. For SRA deployments, we have a remote power system that is scaled directly for fully autonomous deployments. For SRM deployments, we have uninterruptible power systems that utilize grid power as a primary power source, but they can also utilize both PV and battery banks to keep the stations running should grid power fail. To date, we have seen autonomy specs from anywhere from 4 hours upwards of 45 days in the operational space, and we have the ability to provide power systems depending on whatever your project-specific needs are. Additionally, both of our logger systems have the ability to automatically backfill data into a SCADA network once grid power is restored on site. NRG Flare brings our project developers a full suite of service offerings in both engineering and field services in parallel to our trusted measurement solutions for your renewable energy projects. Whether you are doing a resource assessment in the north of the Yukon or an operational deployment at a large utility scale project in the plains of Texas, our Flare solutions can be tailored directly to your companies and project needs. NRG Flare lets us utilize our experienced project management and technical support teams, along with a network of subcontractors and key installation partners in international markets, to provide a single entry point for a successful project with services including but not limited to complete system configuration, station siting, complete installation and commissioning, along with complete SCADA checkouts on the operational side, data collection and including both management and reporting functionality. For the SRA campaign, we can directly manage both weekly or bi-weekly station maintenance, including general O&M and sensor cleaning. We have the ability to provide operations and maintenance training for your on-site personnel once our systems are deployed. We also have the ability to do station decommission, storage, and relocation of your SRA systems, and can provide complete sensor recalibration or replacement. On our engineering side, we can provide complete CAD packages, including single line diagrams and 3D drawings for your project planning. Our data loggers, both the Symphony Pro and Logger S, can come completely pre-configured from our factory and assembled within their enclosures, meaning once on site, installation is as simple as plug and play. We have dedicated technical support and project management teams that are assigned directly to your organization. As mentioned, we have the ability to provide sensor recalibration of both our own and third-party sensors. We have data services to streamline data delivery and processing, which I'll touch on in the next slide. And we have the ability to provide station siting guidance for both pre-construction stations and operational stations throughout your farm. For data management, for the SRA side of things, we have the ability to utilize NRG Cloud for complete fleet management of all of your systems. This is not limited to solar stations and can also be used for your wind resource assessment towers and LiDAR devices. This hub can be used for data visualization of all MET parameters, as well as can serve for document storage of all your installation and operations and maintenance paperwork, as well as site photos, and can be used for station alerts for things like low power or missing data. NRG has the ability to provide direct in-house data monitoring services, including weekly checks and monthly reports. And for the SRM side, as mentioned earlier in the webinar, our loggers use completely fixed Modbus register maps, which means no matter your project, it is simple data ingestion from NRG data loggers, which leads to easy and simple commissioning for field technicians, as well as a quick checkout for SCADA teams. NRG has a global technical support team with personnel both in the United States and Europe, and we have trained key partners across the globe for markets that we do not have physical presence in. This team is available via email, phone, and Microsoft Teams for full training, support, and troubleshooting of any of your project needs. Thank you everybody for joining us today to learn about our Flare measurement solutions. Should anybody have any questions, please feel free to direct them to the email at the bottom of the screen, which is shared by both Thomas and myself.
Thanks, everybody. We look forward to fielding your questions and for working with you on a project in the future.